thinking, well, what do I have to get in my budget for next year? So it's a pretty big deal when it comes to local government to make sure that your budget is planned out ahead of time. We're already doing the engineering work for 2012 streets that, I mean, you got to plan out into the future.
Well, I know there's been a lot of talk about the Main Street program. I know they're really planning on getting out there this summer and trying to revamp a lot of that Main Street. And is any of this budget going to affect what they plan on doing, or?
The answer is I would expect that it wouldn't. Main Street program is, quite frankly, an economic development engine that our community relies on to see businesses prosper on the main street. A main street is a good signal as to how healthy your community is, and the city of Platteville really would like to continue to fund the Main Street program as much as it can. That program will help attract business to our community. That program will help attract new residents. It basically is a foundation or a building block of a community. Any successful community will have a successful Main Street somewhere in their town. So it's very important to the community.
Well, that's good to know because I did an interview with them and they seem to have some great things going on, and I'm like excited to come back next year already just to see it all.
Yeah, there have been many ideas that I have discussed with Jack Ludke, the Main Street Program director, and I'm definitely looking forward to it as well. I'm looking forward to the summers, and hopefully we can get some festivals started where we can close down Main Street and really create an atmosphere where people can celebrate being part of the city of Platteville and being part of the university, and there's so many reasons that we have to be considered, thankful just to be a part of such an excellent community that there's reasons to celebrate.
Definitely. Now, when you guys go into like planning the budget, as you told me, it's a process, which I can believe. Yeah. But is there anything that you guys keep as a priority?
Certainly.
When like keeping the budget in mind?
Every year the priorities change slightly. The priorities are set by the elected officials who are closest to the public. In a democracy, the people elect the city council, and the city council, it's their job to have the priorities and the motivations and the public's best sentiment. So hopefully when the elected officials make their final determination, it reflects the priorities of the population. And usually you can expect that police and fire, which are the foundations of local governments, are going to be at the top. Usually that's a safety feature that most elected officials find as a top priority. Platteville, I can tell you, and compared to other communities, also finds that economic development is a priority for this area. We do a lot to encourage business growth, to encourage businesses to locate to our community. And I think in the future that's going to serve us pretty well. You really want to help with the building blocks and the foundations of your community. And the elected officials definitely see economic development as one of those foundations in Platteville.
Does everyone look like Donald Trump on the board? I'm just kidding. Well, what are some things that we're going to see cuts in coming up here in the next couple of years, returning to Platteville? Okay.
That's definitely something that I wish I could tell you. We're going to be discussing that probably for another 2 or 3 months yet. It was probably a month ago already. I was able to meet with the city council and I gave them 20 to 25 different ideas of things that we could do to maybe save money here or save money there, or operationally that we could change to try to cut back to make government a little bit smaller. I'll give you one idea that's kind of getting a little bit of momentum, and that is to shrink the work week from 40 hours down to 35. Will the public get used to having City Hall closed Friday afternoons? That alone would save taxpayers probably $300,000 a year just for 5 hours a week. But then you have to look at the other side, and who is it hurting?
Right.
And your public employees have already had their wages the same since 2009, and now they're taking a 5.8% pay cut by funding their retirement. Well, if you cut back their work schedule by 5 hours, they're taking another substantial cut. We really have to have a lot of discussion before any decisions are made. And I think the city council is doing it right. They've asked for the information early. They're taking the time it needs to flush out the ideas, and I give them a lot of credit. I think that we're going to come up with the best solution after this discussion is over.
I know a lot of places are doing the cut down in the work week too.
Yeah.
So that's just it's funny to see it like coming down to government too. With even there's like a lot of 4-day work week out there now. You know, like no Mondays anymore.
That's another proposal. Is do you take your 40-hour work week and only be open 4 days and 4 10-hour days? The board is going to have to look at what best serves the population and where do they save the most money, and try to sort that out.
Now, besides workers, are you guys going to be offering like less services, do you think, to the public?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
I was hired and started on December 27th with the city of Platteville, and I can tell you there have been numerous examples that I've come up with where Platteville offers services above and beyond what other communities typically would. Mm-hmm. I know that there are a lot of people that really enjoy those services. So really, it's going to be a political decision. Sometimes the tough decisions like that are best left to the elected officials who can make decisions based on what the public who elected them really wants.
Now, is there a way for people in the community and on campus to like voice their opinion in a respectful way, in a way that's not getting in the way of what the elected officials are trying to make happen?
Definitely. We're always interested in hearing what the public has to say. All of the city council members have email addresses. They all are listed in the phone books. But most importantly, I think the beginning of every city council agenda is a line item where the public is invited to speak. You've got 3 or 5 minutes where anyone from the public can come in and just say, these issues are important to me. As you consider future budgets, please consider that I value these and that they are important. I think that's certainly a welcomed public input, a good opportunity for the students or for the residents to come to the council meeting and say, this is what's important to me. And that's held at the beginning of every city council meeting, the second and fourth Tuesday of every month, 7 o'clock at City Hall.
And I think that's a great opportunity to get involved, too, and be a part of your community. I think that's really important. And I encourage students who leave Platteville to take part in their own communities and other places as well.
Yep. The best way to make an impact, quite frankly, is to run for an elected office. Whether they do it in Platteville or in their own town, anytime you have an opportunity to participate in local government, it certainly is an experience. You'll learn a lot, and you'll have a great impact on your local community.
For sure. Well, I just wanted to thank you so much for coming in today and talking to us and explaining to us a little bit about what's coming our way, what to expect, and also how to get involved and put your voice in there, which is really so important.
Definitely. Anytime.
Well, thank you so much. All right, 91 FM listeners, this has been Brittany here with another edition of Public Affairs.